Alrighty, okay, it's good. Hi, and welcome to It's Rock Science. I live in Southern California, LA specifically, and this past week was pretty shaky. There was a 6.4 earthquake that I felt while I was sleeping in bed, and a 7.1 that I felt while I was on the bus. And while I was on the bus, I was contemplating a lot of things. I was contemplating whether or not I should leave the state and go back home, was contemplating whether I would actually get to my house. But I also realized in that time, that short period of my time on that bus, that this would be a perfect opportunity to do a set of videos, a series of videos about earthquakes. And I'm really excited about this because seismology and earthquakes and earthquake hazards is one of my favorite areas of geology. Makes sense, I live in California. And as per the title of this video, I'm gonna first be talking about faults. Because faults are a vital ingredient for an earthquake. You cannot have an earthquake without a fault slipping. It's impossible. Faults are basically fractures in a body of rock along which there is observable or pronounced displacement between adjacent bodies of rock. This picture shows a fault, as seen by the very pronounced displacement between the two blocks. The left side of the outcrop has displaced or moved downward relative to the right side. Evidence of this is seen in the mismatched white layers, which were presumably once connected. This picture is not a fault. Though there is obvious cracking in this rock, it is not a fault because there is no displacement of the rocks. There are no offset or disconnected layers. This would just be called a fracture. Okay, so now that we know what a fault is, we can get into the different types of faults that exist. So there are generally 3 different types of faults: normal faults, reverse faults, and strike-slip faults. And I'm going to talk generally about each of these. And I made a really cute model that I will be using to help me explain this. So let's start with normal faults. Normal faults form at divergent boundaries, where the Earth's crust is stretching or elongating. Normal faults can be found when 2 blocks of the crust are moving away from each other, like this. When this happens, the hanging wall, right here, moves down relative to the footwall, right here, like that. The hanging wall is basically the crustal block that hangs or is located above the fault surface. This is the fault surface, this is the hanging wall, it's above it. While the footwall is located below the fault surface, right here. A really good way to think about this is that the hanging wall usually has a curved area right here that looks like a cliff you could hang off of. For a normal fault system, the crustal blocks are moving away, causing the footwall, or causing the hanging wall, to move down relative to the footwall. The next type of faulting is reverse faulting. And reverse faulting is basically the opposite of normal faulting. It occurs at convergent boundaries where 2 blocks of the crust are moving towards each other or compressing. When this happens, the hanging wall right here moves up relative to the footwall. So normal faulting and reverse faulting are both examples of dip-slip faults, where the crustal blocks are moving vertically up and down. In each case, the hanging wall is moving up or down relative to the footwall. The third type of faulting is strike-slip faulting. And unlike dip-slip faults, strike-slip faults move horizontally, side to side, not vertically up and down. So instead of moving like this, a strike-slip fault would move like this. And there are 2 types of strike-slip faults: left lateral and right lateral. The best way to visualize strike-slip faulting is by looking down at the Earth's surface. Okay, let's say we're birds and we're looking down at the surface of the Earth. And this is our visible strike-slip fault on the surface. If our fault moves like this, then it's a right lateral strike-slip fault, because the black line has displaced or moved to the right. It doesn't matter what side of the fault you're looking on, it has always moved to the right. Let's say our fault moves like this. Then it's a left lateral strike-slip fault, because our black line has displaced or moved to the left. And again, it doesn't matter what side you're looking at it from, it has always moved to the left. Now there are also 2 lesser categories of strike-slip faulting: transtension and transpression. Transtension is the combination between strike-slip faulting and normal faulting, while transpression is the combination between strike-slip faulting and reverse faulting. So those are the 3 main fault types. I hope this video was informative, and I hope that if you're watching a newscast in the future and there's a geologist talking about faults and strike-slip and right lateral, left lateral, you have some kind of indication about what those terms mean. If you have any other questions, definitely comment those below. If you like this video and want to see more earth science content on this channel, definitely like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.